அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Karunakaran, President, Tamil Moliyal Sangam. Professor Balasubramaniam, Secretary, Tamil Moliyal Sangam. Eminent scholars assembled in this august audience. My fellow panelists, my dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a great pleasure to be part of this book discussion panel. Professor Ramamurthy introduced the book in a very, very fantastic manner. Hats off to you, Dr. Ramamurthy. The book is titled A Meaning-Centric Tool for Making Thesaurus in Tribal Languages. This is compiled and edited by two great linguists from Bharatiyar University, Dr. Sundara Balu and Dr. Vijayan. This work is indeed a welcome addition to the academics in general and to the documentary linguistics in particular. Not only for linguistics, this is going to be a very useful resource for language documentation and cultural documentation, not only for the tribes of Nilgiris, but also beyond. As already pointed out by Professor Karunakaran and Professor Ramamurthy, language documentation has gone through several decades of experiments, and over the last few decades, you can see more and more lexical resources are coming up. But as far as documentation is considered in our country, most of the time we use a word list, mostly written and printed in English. So I was very much happy when I received Dr. Sundara Balu's and Vijayan's copy in my hand. I wish they had made a poster of this book topic. I just wanted to show it here because it's a wonderfully done. The cover page is also very beautiful. I was very happy when I first saw the title in English. I was just under the impression, okay, yet another questionnaire. But no, this is not yet another questionnaire. This is unique in its way because number one, the questionnaire itself is prepared in Tamil. So I feel this is the turning point in documentary linguistics or field linguistics in India. So Tamil I think even all the discussions and whatever went through, you have used only English for the titles of the domains and subdomains. Otherwise, everything is written in Tamil. So that's a welcome addition because very few countries use their own languages to prepare such useful lexical resources. I don't think even in the CIL we have done anything in the regional languages. So, I mean, I'm talking about questionnaire, I'm not talking about other books. So this is a very, very interesting questionnaire. As you all know, lexical resources are very, very important. When we say lexical, it also subsumes cultural resources. These are very, very important for documenting endangered or tribal or indigenous languages. Not getting into the nomenclature right now because our purpose is to discuss about this book, not about the various connotations people give, especially the scholars from linguistics or folklore and anthropology talk about the different nomenclatures for describing the people and their languages. We are celebrating every language because the main thing now we see that every language people have started celebrating because like I tell everywhere, every time I keep saying the same quote, linguistic rights are the basic human rights. When we talk about linguistic rights, the right to use their own language, the right in their social life. But okay, they're using the language, but how do we promote these languages? Most of the times documentation is done for keeping a record of the language so that it can be transmitted to the younger generation. When a language is not transmitted for the next 2 generations, there is a threat for the language to be lost. When we lose a language, we also lose its culture. When a culture is lost, the identity is lost. When identity is lost, everything is lost about that particular community. So that is why we wanted to give importance to record. I'm saying record in the sense of documentation. Documenting, description can be done at a later stage, but it's important to document. But what happens in these days is there are many centers of endangered languages set up by UGC, and also institutions like CIL and other institutions are also given the responsibilities to work on various endangered languages or border languages, minority languages, lesser known languages. There are many labels and people have been working, but the manpower we have in our country to undertake such work is very less compared to other places, especially Latin America, where you find a lot of indigenous languages and lots of work, and also in Australia, especially Aboriginal languages. Institutions in Australia teach a particular language even as a university course. I think time will come in India, or maybe Tamil Nadu will be the first one to introduce a course on tribal languages in the university. For such kind of work in introducing a course in a university, you definitely need resources like this, because it's important if you want to train manpower, if you want to create more manpower and resources, that means we are going to send young budding linguists or budding people from interdisciplinary fields like anthropology, folklore, or cultural studies to undertake a Himalayan task of documenting an unknown language to them or an unknown culture to them. So people always need, nowadays you live in the world of everybody has a mobile, and wherever you want to go, people use Google Maps, and you just, even for short distances, you don't want to think. In the past, we used to ask in the village, how to reach a particular place, how to reach a particular street. But we used to ask and do. But nowadays, people are very much familiar and comfortable using mobile devices and many apps like Google Maps. They are just guiding you. The same way, I see that these kind of questionnaires are going to be a very good resource, a guiding star for people who have no experience in field linguistics or cultural documentation and want to start somewhere, because this is more than just a starting point, because like Dr. Ramamurthy said, this is not the place where we want to talk about small errors or any other negative points here, because I see more positive things in this coming up. It's not easy to come out with such kind of resources, especially the goal is, they say that it is going to be for making thesaurus. I do not know any such work in India, because people have developed dictionaries. It could be monolingual, bilingual, multilingual, print dictionaries or online dictionaries, talking dictionaries, or grammars for kids, grammars for community people, grammars for academic people. But very, very rare, like we do not come across, even pictorial glossaries CIL has done during the time of Dr. Shyamala Kumari and her team. I'm sure many other colleagues who are present here from the CIL, my former colleagues, they also were part of it, like Professor Gyan Sundarama and others. But for creating a thesaurus, what do we need? How do we go about it? They have done an excellent job of having a research team of very, very eminent subject experts. Since this is being recorded and since this might be used in future for field linguistic classes, I would like to read the names of the subject experts who supervised this task of preparing the questionnaire. Professor K. Karunakaran, Professor Shanmugam, Professor Rajashekara Nair, Professor Sam Monlal, Professor Rajendran, Professor Dayalan, Professor Muthukrishnan, Professor Ramamurthy, Dr. Maheshwaran, Dr. Rosemary, Dr. Vimala, Dr. Ravi Shankar, Dr. Durai, Dr. Munian, Dr. V.M. Subramanian, Dr. Palni Rajan, Dr. Ramesh, and Dr. Sankar Ganesh. This was, of course, the steering team, and we have the two important people, Dr. Sundrabalu as principal investigator and Dr. N. Vijayan as co-principal investigator. I understand this was done at the Department of Linguistics, my own department at Bharatiyar University, with the financial support of Batch RUSA 2.0. So this is, I think this is the first work of its kind, of its own kind. I have never seen any such work. To the best of my knowledge, this is the pioneering work, not just in Tamil, but also in other Indian languages. I have not come across any such work in any other language, especially in preparing a semantically enriched questionnaire with the purpose of eliciting data for creation of thesaurus. And this is going to be a very useful tool for eliciting tribal knowledge or the indigenous knowledge on various aspects. Of course, the team, the entire research team deserves a great applause, and I congratulate the whole team, and special congratulations to the principal investigator and the co-PI. This questionnaire is built based on the experiences the whole team had over various years, decades. They have used their knowledge and experience to design, to even formulate the domains, because it's not easy to categorize semantic domains. Is not easy. They have taken 13 domains. I think many of you who are working on documentation of languages are familiar with the tool developed by Summer Institute of Linguistics in Texas. They use 9 semantic domains, broad domains, and there are various subdomains. But here I am seeing that they have 13 domains: ethnoculture, living organisms, tools, natural elements, emotions, physical activities, habitual process, values of things, decorative materials, plants and usage of water, diseases, food related, and occupations. Unlike other people who have categorized or formulated semantic domains and subdomains, in this case, they have listed 428 subdomains. It's very interesting. The entire book is about, besides the notes, if I wanted to take only the questionnaire itself, is exactly 237 pages, all in Tamil, like I told you, except the headings. So it's beautifully done, and whatever they have come out with these domains, I believe it is with the experience they had, the subject experts had over a few decades. And also it is not easy to put up. They had maybe a series of workshops, and in the preface they have said that they have reduced the questions from 12,000 to 6,700. 6,700 questions is not a joke. It's very, very difficult to come out with this. So I wanted to, as an example for some young linguists, young students especially, I would like you to go through this very carefully. For example, if I want to take the subdomain childbirth, so it starts with even when it's a concept, you think of it like a concept. The concept is childbirth. That is the domain. And under that, they have several questions. It's very interesting to see, like they're not imposing the ideas from Tamil worldview into the indigenous worldview. Tamil is being used as a lingua franca, or in other words, in this case, at least it is the language of, I would say, just printing. Maybe when you communicate, and if you're going to Kerala and you want to use, even if you want to use this Tamil questionnaire, you may ask the same thing in Malayalam, if you know Tamil and Malayalam. So, for example, there are questions like, Karuvutra pennai evvaru alaithirgal. How would you call a woman who is pregnant? So, there are, like, you have different concepts right from pregnancy and also childbirth. Like, how do you say that? Kulandai pirakkum nigalvai evvaru kurvirgal. Then also, where does the delivery happen? Is Kulandai pirappadarkena tani kudisai unda? If enil adan payar enna. So there are many questions. Of course, they are asked quite a bit about it. Is there a special hut where the child birth takes place? And how do you call the person who attends to the pregnant lady? And what are the different words? Like, there are many, even the procedure of cutting the umbilical cord. How do you cut the umbilical cord? Do you use a special weapon for it, or what kind of tool you use for that? And do you sprinkle any water or anything as soon as the child is born? So then what happens? There are different and the rituals related to the childbirth. There are several questions there, and quite a bit. There are, see, in many cultures, you know very well, in some cultures, childbirth is not necessarily associated with marriage. So there will be questions like, you can have questions. This is something to know about their culture. It is not imposing our culture or our social values onto them. So this is reflected in their in this questionnaire in many ways, because I am seeing that quite a bit, even about death also. Like there are many such rituals and other things. Already Dr. Ramamurthy told you about different ways people what people do with the dead body in different cultures. So there are many such things, childbirth, and also like even in death, like you see, we can, in our cultures, in whatever culture you are, you may have your own methods, like you may put a cloth over the dead body, or what kind of color, who puts the cloth on, or these are maybe your culture. It is not necessary in that particular culture you will have all these things. So it's important to ask, what do you do? What do you do with someone? Like what? Like it's very, what do you call the person as soon as he or she passes away? The moment someone dies, we give a status body. When are they taking the body? When do they bury the body? They never ask when you take so and so out. No, then we lost all other things. So, but this is our nature. But do they call like that? Do they still use the name of the person, or do they say, where is the body? Where do you keep the body? Or what do you do? What do you put? So there are many such things important. So also like kinship, like many, that's very important, because human beings, you know very well, we live, no man is an island. So around us, we have a lot of relations. And because they are saying this book is depicting the lifestyle of people, lot of principles have been used in this, the lexicographic principles, for example, lexical relations. The moment you're talking about different terms, because it's on page 34 if somebody is looking into the book. So they have quite a bit, they start with parents, then it keeps on going. See, when there are questions like Thayin Petrorudan Pirandavargal, like instead of like, you are not even asking who is born along with your grandfather. You're saying the maternal grandfather. So Thayin Petrorudan so grandparents, not even father. Then there are so many such questions, and then there are sub questions. What how do you ask the, how do you call the male person born along with your grandparent of your mother? So, and see, in many cultures, there are unique terms. For if your mother has 5 sisters or 6 sisters, in Tamil, we will say, if you have 5, if my mother has 5 younger sisters, then all are chitti, or you won't say chitti 1, chitti 2, chitti 3. You will give the name Kamala Chitti, Vimala Chitti, Kausalya Chitti, or whatever, because that is our culture. But there are communities where you have unique terms for the mother's first younger sister, or mother's second elder sister, third elder sister, and so on and so forth. Its kinship is complicated from that point of view for people like us who have very few terms, and you will have the names attached, and you will ask, like, while calling, you may call them like Chitti or Periyappa, Periyamma, but then when you are addressing or when you're referring to them, we have to always use Kamala Chitti or Janaki Periyamma, something like that. But now in their cultures, what is happening? And also this in what the goal is thesaurus. As you know, in a thesaurus, it is going to go beyond describing or providing just lexical equivalents. So we are going to definitely get more information about each and every question here. For example, if you are asking, இறந்தவரின் உடலை புதைப்பீர்களா எரிப்பீர்களா அதை உங்கள் பேச்சு மொழியில் எப்படி கூறுவீர்கள்? So that means, what will you do with the person's body when he or she dies? Do you bury or do you cremate? How do you tell about, how do you say that? And maybe you will ask, can you say more about it? And what kind, if you're going to bury, how depth the burial, the grave should be, so on and so forth. You will have quite a number of questions. For each and every question item here, maybe you will get more than one paragraph of information. I'm not saying paragraph in the length of writing. It's a very natural text. You're asking questions and you will get a lot of information, not just what is the word for it, or how do you like basically you are asking them descriptions, because in a thesaurus it is not just providing definitions or explanations. We are going beyond that, beyond giving all that. So that way we will have a lot of information, descriptions will be there, such kind of things. For lack of time, I'm not going into all the items. When all of the other speakers complete, maybe they can talk more about it. But even about food also, like depending on their land, வீட்டு காய்கறிகள், காட்டு காய்கறிகள், the vegetables grown in home, like in the field at home, or home garden, or in the forest area. So there are different kodi kaigarigal. So like different terminologies, and what are the things, and how do they cook a particular vegetable. Like for example, potato. I remember even in my family, when my grandmother was alive, she never used to peel the potato skin. So she will only say toloda saaptadan sattu. So that's her worldview. So like imagine, even in our own families, if people had different worldviews, imagine these people who have been practicing some kind of culture for ages. They will know like how do they cook a particular vegetable, what are the different methods, so on and so forth. Quite a bit of things are there when it comes to this. Like I don't want to take more time. Like I feel like this kind of questionnaire is very, very relevant in assisting people, language enthusiasts, PhD scholars, and many others who are interested in yeah, there is some disturbance. Yeah, now,
participants, please mute yourself.
Yes, yeah, thank you. So Yeah, mainly, yeah, I just feel that this is one of the most important resource, and it's a very, very relevant in these modern days, especially when many students and many departments are undertaking projects on the language documentation and cultural documentation. Like pointed out by Dr. Ramamurthy, this is a unique questionnaire. Very, very unique. And I believe it has come at the right time when UNESCO has announced the decade of indigenous languages 2022 to 2032. I believe like Bharatiya University, along with other departments in our own university, and also from collaborations with other universities across Tamil Nadu or even beyond Tamil Nadu, will undertake a lot of work and try to use this questionnaire and test this questionnaire. Like this is the first edition itself deserves congratulations, and over the period of time when this is put into actual testing, and I feel more and more refinements will come. But as it is also, it is very good for the cultural and language documentation by I feel this deserves a mention even in the UNESCO. I request the Dr. Sundrabalu and Dr. Vijayan to send a copy or even at least message to the UNESCO, because people should know something is happening in South India, and especially questionnaires are being written in Tamil, and it's not just completion of your RUSA project, but this is the beginning of the next project which you may have in mind. And this way, this questionnaire is going to be a guiding star for people who are going to work on this, take up more work on documentation, to understand the world view of people, to describe each and every aspect, whether it is linguistic, cultural, or social aspect, using different ideas, interdisciplinary insights from linguistics, anthropology, folklore, ethnosemantics, lexicography, and many other related fields. I congratulate both Dr. Sundrabalu and Dr. Vijayan once again, and the entire team of Bharatiya University and the subject experts from various institutions for supporting this monumental work. This is going to make history not only in Tamil Nadu but in India. I thank Tamil Moliyal Sangam for giving me an opportunity to share my views on this wonderful book, and I also promote this book from my own little way. Thank you very much.